Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I'll be unmuting my screen so that it don't echoes out there. So, if you wanna ask something, then I'll be muting up. Okay?
Okay. Then we will use a sign language. Okay. If you have any problem, just raise your hand. Okay.
Yes,
Up
sir.
and down. Okay. Can you guys see the screen? Okay. Okay. Done. Done. Wait. Hold a second. Why? Yeah. Can we start now? Hello. What's happening? Hello.
Sir, can you hear us?
Yeah. Now.
Okay.
Okay. We'll start now.
Okay, yes.
My slide share screen is visible. No. Wait. Right? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. So we'll start with my introduction,
Yes.
and we will be talking about server side template injection today. So I am Narendra Kumar, and I am working with my own startup, and this is my Twitter handler. If some of you want to tweet, you can tweet that, and that's all about me. We'll start discussing about the server side template injection. So, so today's agenda is we'll have an introduction about server side template injection, and we'll understand the terms what is template and what is template engines, right? And we will see how we can detect the template injection. And there are some lot of like different kind of template engines are there. So how we can identify specifically. And the last one, we'll do the exploit, where we will see the attack scenarios. Now, what is template? Just you think in your mind, what is template? And I'll be explaining after that. And if you have completed your thinking, just thumbs up. All of you done? What is
Yes.
template? Thumbs up, thumbs up. Or if someone want to tell what is template, thumbs up.
No idea, sir.
Okay, fine. Now we will come to know what is template. So simply what happens, it's a predefined structure, or you can say layout, that we use for specifically purpose. We give some information in the template, and then we use it. And these template are just the structure of HTMLs, right? And if we use these templates, we get more profit. Like it reduce our typing, it saves our time, and it's faster, right? Now we are done with the template. Now second is example. To understand template, here is an example. In first upper layer, it's a produce HTML. Like we want to render these two content on the web page, right? So suppose the first line is the welcome to Null. It's a heading. And the second, assume it's a paragraph. Null meets are open for everyone. So we want to render these two lines. One is the headline and second is the paragraph in the web page. So what we do when we use the classic HTML, right? We use the head tag, right? Opening head tag and closing head tag, right? And I'm sorry, again, I did the same mistake. I forgot to put the paragraph tag there. That will be P1, right? So we use this one, a classic HTML, to render the above example, right? Now, instead of that, if we use the template, what will happen? Instead of writing the header opening closing tag, we can simply use in third layer, we can see, we can simply use the H1 instead of opening and closing tags of HTML. And in P, we can use, instead of paragraph, we can use the P here, right? So it's very short. It's a very simple example, but as you do the work with the more uh, complex project, that time you will be increasing the number of tags and all those things. So at the time, it will be very helpful to reduce the typing. It will save your time. That's the reason people are yeah using the templates. Now the second thing is template engines. In present scenario, most of the web applications are like using template engines to render the dynamic content. Okay, so I'll give an example to understand it. This is the example. So again, same example I'm taking. Welcome to the OWASP, or you can assume the null also. So OWASP meets are open for everyone. Now, see, in the backside, what template do is simply what it does, it combines the data with template, right? In previous slide, I explained what is template. It's a predefined structure, right? In that we give some information data, right? For combining these things, we use the template engines. And we get the resulting document or output, what we want to render on the web page or in emails or whatever. So come back to the example. So these things we want to render. Welcome to OWASP, and OWASP meets are open for everyone. Now see, as I said in template engine diagram, it combines the data inside the template, right? It put the data inside there. So here is a second is the data layer. In that what we do, we define the elements, right? In that element, we give our data. That could be anything, whatever you want to give. So here we are taking two elements. One is the name and second is the category. In name, we are taking the OWASP, and in category, we are giving the string meets are open for everyone. Now, in third layer, we are using template engine to combining our data inside the template. Now, see, uh, if you are using template, right, engine, so what will happen? We'll use h1 opening tag, and this will be the static string welcome to, and the next we are seeing this triangular bracket and name, sorry, name. So this is the dynamic part of this uh, content page, right? So what will happen in first line, the name will be referenced from the data layer. What is that? That is OWASP, right? And in second line, we are writing in a paragraph. That's a P opening P and a closing P. Between that, we are referencing two elements from the data layer. First is the name, that is OWASP, and the second is the category, which is meets are open for everyone. So whenever the data will be rendered on the screen, that will come dynamically from the data layer. You no need to give static data there. It will be automatically fetched from the data layer using the template engines. So that's the reason most of the time people are using template engines. So they no need to be worry about the rendering the data on the web pages or emails. Now, there are different kind of template engines are there. Free marker, velocity, twig, jade, EGS. There are a lot of more are there out there. So is there any doubt what is template engine or template? Is it clear to all?
Yes, sir. It's all fine.
Fine. Okay. Now, think about the template injection. Anybody want to answer? Okay, I'll start. Uh, Simply, we will be injecting something inside the template. Okay. See, now as I said, the many web application, modern web applications are using template engines nowadays to render the dynamic content. So when the template injection will occur, right? So it occurs when an user input or untrusted input has been embedded inside the template. That time the problem arises. Let's take an example of marketing application that sends the bulk emails to their clients. Suppose I'm sending uh, the mail to few of my friends that these friends are my customer. So I'll say, hello, dear Rahul, dear Monica, or dear Anamika, right? So like this, we will be greeting our customers using that template injection. Or instead of dear, you can write anything else, right? And just you can change the name of that customer using that template engines. Because in template engine, what happens? It takes the dynamic data. If you give the data to template, what will happen? You are having a structure of greetings, dear, the name of the customer, right? And default message. So what will happen? Dear Narendra, dear Rahul, and so on will be there. So in first example, if you see the render function, if the the message or parameter has been passed inside this function, it's fine, okay. Like if we are giving the value inside the template, right? We are not taking the input from the user. But what happens in second example? See, there is a render function inside that. There is a get function is there, which will take the input from the user directly. So what happens whenever we give the input in the web application, that will be taken, right? And that will go to the server side. And whatever input the server will get from the application, he will not judge like it is wrong or right. That will accept it, that will evaluate, and that will respond back to the user, right? So what happens if instead of simple username, if user gives some template inside it, what will happen? The template will be taken as input because there is no validation, and the application is taking input from the user directly. So that input will go to the server side inside the template, and that will be executed from the server side, and the response will come back to the user. In that situation, whatever we will try to evaluate from the server side, we will be able to do that. Okay. So this is how the template injection occurs. Now, there are two behaviors of the templates. So we can detect like template injection is there or not. So one is the plain text and the second is code. So in plain text, what we do, these are the two examples of template engines. One is the Smarty and FreeMaker. These are the some default basic syntax of template engines, right? They use the basic standard of syntax to render the data on the web page. So these are the default. Now the second is, now if you want to detect like is there template injection is there or not. Now if we give instead of name, if we give some simple equations inside the template, uh, as you see the 7 into 7 is there in red mark, right? Are you seeing? And outside that some braces are there, right? So whatever you will give inside that, that will go to the server side and that will be evaluated. So if server is evaluating that equation, we will get the response 49, right? Now, similarly, for the tree maker is the same syntax. What will happen? We'll give 7 into 7 or 2 into 2, we'll get the output. Now, the server will give the output. Now, one more thing is here. These templates share one basic syntax. Right? They are using different syntax for use, but they are having one similar format of syntax. So as you can see, the last line, the other payloads. So what you can do, you can try different these payloads, and you can just find out the template injection is available or not. Now we talk about the code. So if that server is taking that text and that is not evaluating, so what we can try next, we try to inject template syntax itself. As you can see in the last line, there is two, in red symbol, you can see the braces, right? Is it visible, the braces? Okay. So if we are, see, if we are giving the plain text, so maybe we will get some error in that, or we'll get empty string. So for the next step, if we are not getting any string, so what we can do, we try to inject some code, and that is the template syntax. Now, what happens in present scenario? Most of the time, people look for the input fields and just they check for the accesses, and after finding accesses, just they move on. They don't see is there any possibility of template injection, because the template injection is having very explicitly different syntax from the common markup language, right? They are using some braces that is different. People don't try after like finding the pop-up, they will not think like what could be the serious vulnerability more than this, right? So we can inject this braces to break the code, and then we can give any input of tag, And if that is rendering on the page, then we can, yeah, yes, there is the template injection. Yeah, so we all done with the first step of the detection. Uh, that detection part is clear. Is there any doubt? Okay, no doubts. Okay, we'll move forward. Now the second thing is how to detect template engines. As in previous slide, I showed there are a lot of template engines are there. So how we can detect the specifically one template that has been used, and according to that we can make our payloads to exploit the target, right? So for detecting, identifying template engines, uh, the some decision tree has been used, right? What happens in it? As if we give the input inside the template like 7 into 7, that will give some output, right? On the basis of that, we'll make one more decision. On the screen, as you can see, 7 into 7 is there. If that is having two possibilities, like 7 into 7 may be rendering on the page or may not be. So what we can try, the next syntax we can try for the template, right? If upper one, the comment one is, if you are giving comment in upper one, so AB you will get on the screen, right? So at the time, the Smarty could be there, but in below one you can see 7 into 7 is there, and if you are getting 49, that's all right, but you need to try one more time. Like if you are giving 7 into 7 in quotes 7, so at the time if you are getting 49, there is a twig, but if you are getting 7 times 7, that time Jinja could be there. So on the basis of these decision making payloads, we can identify which one template has been used. And the one more thing, if this decision tree works on the basis of errors, if these errors are suppressed, we won't be able to identify which one template engine has been used. Now, it's time to get ready. We have identified the template engine. Now, the last and the final step, the exploit one, we are getting ready for that. And we have done that, right? Now, it comes to the exploit, the final stage. Now, the first thing is read. So whenever developer develops some applications, they think, yeah, we have learned this one thing already. We know about it. No need to read the documentation part. Who will read this? It's boring work, right? But what happens? They miss some security things there, right? They don't read the documentation. They will miss something, and from there we can find out something interesting for us that we can use for our exploit purpose. The basic syntax you need to cover, like how the template is working, what is the syntax of that. You need to have the idea of that, because there are a lot of syntax are there of different engines. So you need to see for the basic syntax, and there are a lot of built-in methods, functions, variables are there that could be helpful for us, like they can give us some information, and plugins and also help us to find some interesting clues, right? After reading, you gather the information about the template, what kind of basic syntax it is having, what kind of methods it is using, and filters, variables, and all. Then after that, you explore. You have studied the documentation, right? So now you need to explore. Now, what are the default like objects has been used there? Like self they use, and self give us a lot of information about template, like. And the second is if there is no built-in. object for the template engine. So what we can do, we can brute force the variable names. Uh, like what happens, the template engines are using some objects and developer defines their own objects. So these objects contain some interesting information on the context of sensitive information, right? So that could be very helpful for us to exploit it. Now, the last one comes attack. So how that can be possible? See, we have covered the detection part, identification, which one template has been used, and the last one, the documentation part. Now we are having a lot of information about the attack surface, like what kind of things has been used in this development and what kind of engine has been used. So on the basis of that, we can just attack, right? Now it's time for the demo. We'll see a demonstration. Is it visible? Thumbs up.
Zoom it a bit.
Yeah, I'll try. Now,
No, sir.
fine.
Yes, sir. Now it's okay.
Okay. So for the demonstration purpose, I am using XVWA, and here in last, you will find this template injection. Now, here, this application is like explicitly mentioning the twig they have been used. So we'll not bother about like finding out which one template has been used. We can just follow the decision tree and we can find out. So in twig, we use, okay, we'll give some valid use names, right? Normal name. So I'll give my name. Okay, so I'll submit it. Now, as you can see, as I gave the example of the bulk emails for the greetings, right? So I was giving the example, hello Narendra and hello other customer name, right? So here I'm giving the name only. It's good, it's fine, it's working well. But now think, as we have covered the basic syntax of template, so we can try to inject the template also inside it, right? So what we'll do, we'll try to inject some equations like 2 into 2. We are inserting a template inside the template, right now. So that will be accepted by this application. Means this application is taking or embedding user input in unsafe manner, that is allowing the template input. So now you can see we are seeing the output because the 2 into 2 has been taken as an input in the application and that has been sent to the server, and that equation has been evaluated from the server side and we are getting the output for. And suppose uh, like in previous example in a decision tree we were seeing like for smarty, this is the comment, right? If we are giving some between the star marks, that will be commented in the output of smarty. But see what will happen here, we'll seeing the as it is string, right? That is not commented out, right? If comment has been commented out there, so there is the smarty template engine we have been used, right? That application is using smarty, but it's not using the smarty, it's using the twig one. So we'll use a twig one syntax and we'll get the response from the server side. Now we have identified this one twig. Now the exploitation part comes. So for the exploitation part, the James Catley, some he has explained a very well development of the exploit. So I won't be covering that here. So I'll be giving the references of that exploit development. So you people can go and just read about it and just get the understanding of it. This is all. Just for the demonstration, cool demonstration, I'll be using some payloads here. So you can guys go back and just like check how this payload has been made.
Okay, sir.
So I'm using this one payload. These are has been used because of the sandbox bypassing, and they are using some built-in self object, right? Some environment they are using register. So you guys can go back and just read the documentation part from there. You can learn about it, or later we can conduct the session for this also. So whenever
Yes,
we
sir.
give this submitted, we'll get the output, right? UID, GID, groups. Now, instead of that ID, if we give some command like pwd, present working directory, tell us. So we are getting that, right? So most of the time, what happens? People look for the input fields or just try for the accesses. They don't look for the server side template injection. But there is a very serious vulnerability there, right? Template injection, as you people see, right? So instead of accesses, we can go further and we can make the vulnerability more serious, and we can do the remote code execution, and we can have the reverse shell from there. And that's all for today. Thank you. Is there any query?
Sir, is there any other attack we can do with this template injection? Like,
There is only one demonstration here.
okay.
Any other query?
No, sir. Sir, one is asking what can be other possible attacks that we can perform.
If you are having the server, whatever you want to do, you can do after doing RCE. You can play around with the server because RCE is like it's a very dangerous vulnerability, right? If you are having the whole server in your hand, so whatever you want to do with that, you can just try.
Thank you for the session, sir.
Just one more thing, you people promised me you will not call me sir, but you can call me Narendra. We all are same age, no problem.
Okay, sir.
Am I visible to you all? No?
No, sir.
Oh, wait, I'll do something.
So you are not visible.
Yeah, I won't be because my cam is not working, I think, right now. Okay, see you guys. We'll conduct more
Okay,
session.
sir.
We'll
Sir,
meet.
so would you like to join us for the next session?
Sorry,
Sir, would you like to join us for the next session? Arm exploitation.
by Jitendra, right?
Yes.
I'll be leaving. He will continue. Okay.
Okay. Thank you,
All the
sir.
best, guys, and hope to see you guys again.
Yo, same.